Guys, it's brought to us by Gusto. No one starts a business for the joy of calculating tax withholdings or managing payroll spreadsheets. That's where Gusto comes in to take the stress out of your payroll, benefits, and HR so you can focus on running your business and supporting your team. Gusto is the all-in-one, remote-friendly payroll and HR platform that makes managing your team simple, transparent. Is everyone okay out there?
Well, we thought it was Gusto.
It is Gusto.
Gusto, Gusto,
you had it right
Gusto,
the first
Gusto.
time.
Yeah.
There's no pronunciation on the page.
Spanish.
Listen, I am an AP
Mucho
Spanish
gusto.
taker.
Mucho gusto.
Mucho gusto. This is the best Gusto read they've ever had.
Love Gusto, baby.
We have
helps
Gusto.
you with all your needs in one place without the hassle or hidden fees. Try Gusto today at gusto.com/LockedOnNFL. Get 3 months free when you run your first payroll. That's 3 months free payroll at gusto.com/LockedOnNFL. One more time. That's gusto.com/LockedOnNFL.
We used Gusto when we launched The Athletic. That was the payroll system.
Let's go Gusto,
that's
baby.
what's up.
So, yeah.
I like
a lot of
Gusto.
experience with
Gusto. Make
It
sure you
is
head
Gusto.
over. It's spelled gusto.com.
Yeah.
Pronounce it how you please. Bull.
Yes.
Kevin Stefanski, as we have mentioned a few times, has now beaten the Steelers in 4 straight games. His future has yet to be determined. Do you think what happened yesterday? I know you said it shouldn't, but do you think it will have any impact on his future with the Cleveland Browns?
I mean, with Jimmy Haslam, you never know what goes through his head, so it's possible. Like, you can't. Here's what you can't do. If you're, what I don't want to see is, okay, we'll bring back Stefanski. They get off to a bad start next year, and then you fire him in the middle of the season.
Yeah,
that doesn't benefit anybody.
No.
Right? So you can't. To me, the season's over. It's a good win. The team played hard. Okay, I can't let that change my opinion. If I'm an owner. If I should have decided already, hey, am I moving forward with Kevin Stefanski or not? And to me, this should not change. One win in a lost season, even though I thought it was going to be a lost season, would not change. If he was going to keep him, he should still keep him. If he was going to fire him, he should still fire him. Which, again, with Jimmy, you never know. But I'll say that it doesn't change things.
So for the people who say that this should change things, then if they lose the Bengals next week,
Right.
back on. Like this is
Yeah,
the
right.
emotional
Yeah.
weirdness
It's like
that
ping pong.
fans and media do. You can't live and die off every single game, off every single week, and change everything. So,
But with Jimmy, that's the only thing I'm saying, though.
well,
you never know with him.
You never know,
Right,
You
but
just
it
don't know how
shouldn't
these
be
are gonna
that
play.
way.
That's why I said I had people asking me yesterday, "Does this change things?" I'm like, I don't freaking know. The game just ended 45 minutes ago.
Yeah.
How could you possibly know what
Here's
the
what
owner
people are
thinks?
asking you to do. Jump into the head of the worst owner in the NFL who's got a history of making bad decisions.
But I will say, like, clearly he's looking for every reason possible not to fire these guys. Like, that's fact.
He is?
He's come
He
out.
wants stability.
He's come out multiple times and said, like, the Deshaun trade set us back. And what did he say to Diana after the Miami game? Like, we showed great fight. Kevin still has these guys. He's looking for, I'm not saying he's going to keep them. He's looking for every opportunity to keep them because I don't think he trusts himself to have to start over again. I don't think he trusts himself to get it right.
Yeah, I wouldn't trust him to get it right either. I'm not saying that you keep him or fire him. I said about 4 weeks ago, I thought he was gone. I still think that knowing Jimmy, 4 wins is not going to be enough. I still think that that's the case. But I told you earlier that I reached out to some guys that I trust that don't cover the Browns, but cover the NFL, and they hear and they know and they talk.
Yeah.
And here's my question. You would be surprised if the Browns blank with Stefanski. Roll it back, move on. Those are your choices. And mostly the responses were they would be surprised if he was fired. They would not be as surprised if he was brought back.
See, I don't know.
So now again, they're all five trying to do the same thing.
The vibe,
jump into the head of Jimmy Haslam.
The vibe I was getting a week or two ago was it could be a complete blowout.
Yeah, well, that's what I thought too. I said that 5 weeks ago.
That's why it's impossible. It's impossible to answer this question.
But
right
would
here today.
it shock you if he brought him back?
No,
it wouldn't shock me.
And I don't think it would shock me either.
The owner could change. The owner could change his mind. That's the thing.
And he's done that.
I mean, this is the thing about the NFL. When you talk about owners, like these are top of the food chain, bro. Like if they wake up tomorrow and be like, you know what, I don't like these jerseys, they get rid of them, bro. That's just is what it is. To me, my gut feeling would be, I think they would bring Andrew Berry back. I don't think they'll bring Stefanski back. But is there a chance that all of them are gone? Sure. Is there a chance that one of them stays, another one? Is there a chance that Stefanski? I think it's small. I think it's a 10%, 20% chance he's back. But could Jimmy Haslam wake up and if the Browns win next week and be emotional and they look great and beat the Burrow and the Steelers, or excuse me, Burrow and the Bengals, could he get emotional and say, let's make that move? Sure.
Keeping one and firing the other to me is crazy.
I think you're right with
That's
that. I
the
think either
craziest
both
thing.
go or both stay. One of the things that someone pointed out to me is as why it's so hard to kind of forecast this. They said, believe it or not, there's a couple of things that are in the balance that could dramatically impact what Jimmy does. Is Mike Tomlin available?
Would Mike Tomlin take the Browns job?
Tomlin-
I'm just
Can't
telling you.
imagine.
I'm just telling you.
I will answer that the same way I answered the Vrabel question. Mike Tomlin is not taking this job.
There's no way.
Don't
I
think
could
so?
see it.
No chance. Why would he?
He can
ever
get
take
any
another
job he wants. Why
The
would he take
other
Browns?
thing was that was brought up by a different reporter. He said
Brian Flores is
Tommy
very
Rees,
interesting.
Tommy Reese is
That would
looked
be
at-
my number one.
Yeah,
That would be my
That's,
number
I've
one
been saying
guy.
that for
Absolutely.
2 months. I want Brian
Absolutely.
Flores.
Flores would be my number.
very
There's a
interesting.
lot. There's a lot back there, like back channels that they have to work through.
Yeah.
He's interviewed multiple times here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like keep that in mind for multiple different roles. They've
Why was
interviewed
he
him for
turned
head.
down before? Do you know?
I think.
Because he doesn't put up.
I think the way that he handled the lawsuit will hurt him in the eyes of other owners.
Yeah.
And the fact that he aired dirty laundry publicly.
Yep.
I don't blame him for doing it.
I don't either.
Good
I don't
on you
blame
for
him
doing it.
but it is outside of protocol.
Burn down the building.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that.
Yep.
But it's going to be held against you by the others inside the building. Does that make sense?
Very
That's
much
one. And number two, he's interviewed for head coach here. He's interviewed for DC here. He was passed over multiple times. And the version that my understanding of how it went at head coach, the Browns sort of stepped in and embarrassed themselves. It wasn't anything he did. It's what they did.
Of course.
And I'm not going to go into detail because
Yeah.
I don't have it 100%, but I'm pretty sure I got it. And I don't. But again, what other options is Brian Flores? And again, we're getting too far down the road. Kevin's
He's
still
an
head
ass
coach here.
kicker, and that's what I like.
But,
but I do think
what
that-
other options is he going to have to be a head coach again in the NFL? I think it's going to be very limited.
But I do think it's fair to ask because
stop
if you're
that.
going to
You
fire
stop
a
that,
coach,
McNuggets.
you
You
better
stay out
have
the way.
a good alternative. You better
Absolutely.
have something.
Yes, that's the number one
and that's
rule.
why there are good alternatives. But would Mike Tomlin say no definitively? Probably. There would probably be better jobs open than this one. I don't know. Someone pointed out to me, Tommy Reese, even though their offense hasn't lit it up
I've
this
already
year.
said that.
Someone has told me that Tommy Reese is looked at in the NFL as an up-and-comer who someone's going to pluck away and be a good head coach.
I am not reporting this. I don't know this.
Right.
I'm speculating.
Yeah.
Would it surprise you if Jimmy's sitting there thinking, well, we had
No.
Kyle Shanahan here.
Listen,
and
that's
we let
exactly
him
what I was
go.
going to say.
And now if Tommy is 2 or 3 years away from this, then let's just get through the bumps now
And take him.
And
I hate
let's
that,
not.
but
Yep.
all right.
I'm not saying.
Yeah.
But would it really
That's why I went
surprise you?
Tommy
I want
up
a coach
because-
I want a coach with experience, but not an old.
You know what I
dad.
liked yesterday?
He's done
Yeah.
it before with Freddie Kitchens.
Yeah.
He's
Here's
done
what I
that.
liked yesterday. I don't know Tommy Reese. I've
Freddie was
interviewed
never-
him.
I know what you're
Yeah.
going to say.
Hey,
when he hit
hang on,
that, when
hang
he
on,
hit
hang on.
Slam that table.
Well, he was
I
mad.
jumped up and I said, "There it is."
Hang on.
It's not. I like Tommy Reese.
I like that.
Is
I
intelligent.
saw that.
dog.
I saw that.
Yeah.
I saw
I need
that.
that.
Hang on. Freddie is only a prodigy in drinking.
Yeah.
That's it.
Allegedly, I don't know, but
No, but Tommy Reese showed some real fire. He was upset over a
he
pre-snap
was-
penalty, a
So
misalignment.
let Brian.
It cost him a timeout.
If they
Never seen
hire
Stefanski
Brian
get that
Flores
angry
as the
over
head
anything.
coach, if he and Tommy Reese can get along, let Tommy Reese run the offense and let's go.
You got to let Flores pick his own staff. Whoever it
Absolutely,
is.
but maybe they
Yeah.
would connect.
I
whatever.
don't know.
You
We're
have to
along-
let him pick his
we're
own
along-
Is
staff.
Jim
Yeah.
Schwartz a viable option?
Not if Flores is the head coach.
No.
No, but I'm just talking
be
about
the head
as a head
coach.
coach.
To be the head coach?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Who
You
knows?
don't know?
he'll get an interview.
All right, here's something with Stefanski yesterday that I had a beef with. Nobody else is talking about this because it's really.
I think you're kind of nuts for
My
this.
only hope was you, Jason.
I think
so
you're
now
nuts.
I'm,
It
now
remains
I'm
your
lost.
only hope.
But go ahead.
Okay. So the Browns on their last drive when they kicked that field goal after the Steelers went for it on fourth down.
Yeah.
The Browns were at the what? Can you give me the exact down and distance, Mike? I think it was 4th and 5 at the Steelers 15.
I will pull it up for you right now. Give me 1 second.
Yeah.
Keep going. That's roughly where they were.
Yeah.
Okay. So if
By the way, they
Well,
put
they
up on the
were
screen,
officially-
analytics said that you kick here.
It was 4th and 5 at the 14.
Okay.
I would have not kicked the field goal. I would have gone for it there, and here's why. First of all, you're not playing for anything. I know you want to win, but like if you lose, it's not the end of the world.
Right.
But if I get the first down, obviously the game is over. Take a knee, game over. even if I don't get it, the Steelers have no timeouts. There's less than 2 minutes, and now they have to go what I assumed would be at least 10, if not 15 yards. It turned out to be, I think, 15 yards. They got an extra 15 yards. Now, the Steelers, if they score a touchdown,
You win the game.
would have won the game if it's only 4.
Yeah.
They might. I think they're going to go for 2 in this case. Now, in this case, they'd have to go for 2 to win it. So you don't have to go. But I like the chances of winning the game on that 4th down, even if you don't get it, them having less. If they had less time, I don't even think they get in the red zone in that case.
Yeah,
Because they were running out of time.
Yeah, no, if they
down
pick up the first down, the game's over.
Right.
But, and I know what you're saying, put your foot on their throat.
Yes.
If it was 4th and 1 bowl, I would have considered that.
We ain't had no
But
4th
here's-
Then it's a no-brainer.
It's a no-brainer. But
Yeah.
here's what Kevin Stefanski's math looked
Yeah.
like. They've scored 2 field goals against this defense all day.
Right.
They need a touchdown that's going to look like a 80-yard touchdown. Now, they almost pulled it off. But in the end, Kevin bet on his defense, and he won with that.
In that instance, 3 points is way more valuable than 15 yards.
I
because
agree with
you
that.
put yourself up a full touchdown.
Yep.
They have to score a touchdown either way. The
Yeah,
only difference
but
is
a touchdown
they
beats you.
But who cares in the end?
Well,
Go
yeah,
I do.
That matters
They
because
did play to
if
win.
they score a touchdown to get it to overtime, now you're
You still
asking
have
for
a-
Pittsburgh to put back-to-back scoring drives together
Yeah.
when they've only scored 6 points all day.
I think you're saying he relied on the defense. I'm saying he didn't trust the defense enough.
The Browns-
because he should have. He's like, they're not going to score a touchdown.
the
So
oth-
what's the
but the
difference?
other
No,
side-
but the safe bet, he hedged his bet with the
Yeah.
extra 3 points.
The other side of this is the Browns' offense did absolutely nothing over the last 3
None.
quarters.
Yeah,
Zero.
correct.
So you
What
think they're going to
4th and
get
5 play did they have?
They
They
ain't picking
weren't
up 5
scoring
yards on
anything.
4th down.
I don't think the Steelers would have gotten into the red zone if they had to go 15 more yards.
It's only 15 yards. They got down the field like
Like
that.
that, like 5
They
seconds.
were almost out of time, Jason.
It doesn't matter. They had to throw. They had 3 throws into the end zone to win
win the
tie
game.
the
Yeah.
game.
Right, they wouldn't have had
your
3.
scenario.
They
Yeah,
wouldn't have
would
had 3.
They still would have been in the end zone. They still would have had 3 throws to the end zone.
They would have been further
It was
away.
15
We'll never
yards.
know.
Oh,
that
Lord.
first 15 yards is harder when
Oh,
you're backed
you're
up in your
miserable.
own 15.
Even when they
Great
win, you're still whining.
job, Kevin Stefanski, by taking a point and not listening to it. Boy, listen,
Yeah.
you got a rookie
I
quarterback,
think
no
outside the box,
playmakers.
baby.
None.
No
Hey,
playmakers.
And you do have to take into account what you've done that
By the
half
way,
with the football. How many
let's
yards
state-
did they have in the second half?
Let's state for the record, none. Let's state for the record that I have more confidence in Shedeur Sanders than G. Bush. That's a fact. That 100% fact right there.
no,
You can't-
because he's
no, that's 100% fact.
no.
That's a fact.
I drink Kool-Aid, but I ain't stupid.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
in that spot, asking them to pick up a 4th and
The
5.
Steelers hadn't moved the ball all day. What's
Neither
the
did the
difference?
Browns.
The Browns didn't move it all.
Second, third, fourth.
You
The
can-
Browns
you
only
can
have to
make an
move it for
argument.
one play. The Steelers have to go down the field.
Nah.
The only reason the Steelers went down the field is because the Browns stopped playing defense.
It doesn't matter. They went down the field. They did exactly what
They
they're
went
supposed
down
to
the
do.
field,
They
and
had 3
Maybe
throws
they
in
would
the
have
end
played
zone.
tougher defense
Let's-
if they were only down 4.
What's the narrative this morning?
Yeah.
If on 4th and 5,
Oh, my God.
Shedeur throws an incompletion.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
And they
Pittsburgh
lost.
goes down the field
Yeah,
and scores a
and
touchdown.
Kev
Then
wins
it's
the
Shedur's
game.
loss.
Kev, they
You're
trying
right.
to.
No, then it's Kevin's
and that-
loss.
It's
Kev-
Kevin's loss, but Kevin saved Shedeur
But you know
from
what?
a lot of that mess.
But you know what? That's exactly why Kevin should be fired, because he was gutless. I wouldn't have
Oh,
cared.
Lord.
If I were the coach, I wouldn't have cared what people said.
It's always easy.
If I were a coach, I'd ignore the media. It would be meaningless.
Hey, Bull,
to me.
this might be one of your worst ones ever.
Yeah, this is not a good one.
I'm an
wild.
outside the box thinker.
This is
You
wild.
guys are not.
I don't think. Did they
I don't
convert
tell
a
you.
fourth? Mike, did they convert a 4th down yesterday? The Browns.
The Browns, I can tell you if I go to
they
team
even try?
stats.
Because
see.
I don't think that they did. But prior to
No, they were 0 for 1 on 4th, and the Steelers were 0 for 3.
they haven't converted a 4th down with Shedeur on the field all year. You want them to convert that one? And
Yeah,
that
that's a
instance?
lot. 4th and
No.
5, especially because the field goal gives you a
I'm
safe
telling you,
touchdown.
if the
lead.
Browns had played defense like they had the rest of the game, which they decided to play prevent at the end, which is lame,
That's what teams do.
then
I
they
hate
shouldn't.
it too.
They
I,
shouldn't.
listen, I agree with
When
you,
the-
but
Then it wouldn't have mattered. The Steelers couldn't move the ball until that drive because they backed off.
When the Steelers were going down the field, I said, "Oh my God, it's the Vikings all over again." Here we go.
Felt like it.
Here we go.
the
They
Steelers,
need
I
one
think, would have.
stop.
Do you think the
Felt
Steelers
like
would have gone for 2 if they'd scored a
No.
touchdown?
I don't
No.
know. I was thinking about that.
I
When
don't
were on
think
the
they would have.
7.
I think they
And
would.
I
then-
think
and
because
then
I think Mike Tomlin would have been saying the same thing. This Browns offense has done nothing.
Yeah.
And we're going to continue
Yeah, but
to make
neither had
sure they
their
do
offense.
nothing. I know, but they're coming off a touchdown drive of 85
I know, but
yards.
that's just because the Browns played stupid defense on that drive.
Well, they did, but
ridiculous.
that's what teams do.
It's Aaron Rodgers versus Shedeur Sanders, a rookie
No
with
faith.
a terrible line and no weapons. I'm going to take my guesses and say that we're going to kick this field goal and make them score.
Hey,
2
the Saints
points
had no
versus-
weapons,
I
and Tyler
agree.
Shuck scored 40 points yesterday, and They had nothing. They had like 7 guys on the offense injured. So
he's-
show some faith, G.
they've won
in
4 in a
Shedeur
row,
Sanders.
haven't they?
Show some
The
faith
same
like
thing.
I do.
Kevin?
Mike, I want that headline to say Adam Bull has more faith in Shedeur Sanders than
Lord.
G.
Boy.
Bush. Mark it down. Please
Hey,
have that as the title.
Kevin, I'm glad you didn't fall into that trap. He's trying to set you up for your next job.
By the way, it is patently absurd that Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski would keep their jobs. They're both terrible at their jobs, and this is absurd. This is ridiculous, and Jimmy Haslam
so they're both fired
is an
for you.
idiot if he keeps them.
Oh, wow. Idiot.
And I would actually make a slight argument, even though I don't like him anymore, that Kevin Stefanski's better at his job than Andrew Berry. But there's no way I keep either of them. They're both terrible, and you can't just look at 1 year. You look at a body of work, and the body of work is terrible. The team is worse now than they were 6 years ago.
General managers say this before.
Yeah.
We've talked about it on the program about how there's a learning curve to the draft, and my fear would be, and I know you're not supposed to live in this fear, but what if Andrew Berry has figured out the draft? What if he has? I think there's something inside me that says, I want to see him prove it again. I want to see him do that again. And if he does, and you keep him, you know that you've got your next general manager for a long time. Two drafts in a row.
Does anybody think Mason Graham was worth the 5th pick in the draft?
It's hard.
I'm asking an opinion.
It's hard.
too
It's
early.
If you
hard
had to say right now, is
it's
he worth
hard
the fifth pick in the draft?
It's hard for me to justify right now. I think he
Yes.
could be a very good player.
Agreed.
And G has told me, and I agree with this because I've heard other defensive linemen say it, there's a big learning curve at that position.
Listen, he's a nice
learning
player, but let's keep it real. G. Bush knows 100% certain he is not worth the 5th pick in the draft. You know that.
here's-
You know it too well.
It's too early.
You
to
know it.
definitively-
Come on, stop it. We
No.
know these things.
now, hold on. Watch this.
You know it. G. Bush knows
Now,
it.
now,
Good
what-
player.
Did you say Hunter's a
Good
bust
player.
already?
What,
Good. No.
wouldn't
Too early.
Wait. What? Wait. What?
Why is
Yes.
it too early for the second?
He's
pick?
barely played. He was hurt all season.
He's played enough for us to know who he is.
No, he has not.
Oh, but Mason, I'm confused.
And I'm the
Help me,
guy.
Jay.
I'm the
Yeah.
guy who said I would quit.
Yes.
If Mason Graham got drafted.
You think he's gonna be a superstar?
So listen, bro, you can't call that out yet.
I'm asking your opinion. We're making opinions.
What I'm telling you, my opinion is I cannot prognosticate. It's like saying is Shedeur Sanders going to be a top 15 quarterback?
Yeah. Well, you've already decided he is.
No, I have not.
It
What are
seems
you
like
talking
you
about?
have.
I said, can he be a starting quarterback? Yes.
Okay.
I didn't say top 15.
I'm asking you a question. Do you think Mason Graham's going to be a superstar?
I think
if you had to bet right now.
I think Mason Graham has some good traits. I think he needs to get stronger. I think he's had some nice spots, some bad spots. But to say that if I'm going to know he's going to live up to the 5th pick, it is too early to judge a rookie.
We all understand it's too early on all these guys. I'm asking your opinion.
My opinion is,
You don't know.
Can your
That's
opinion be
fair.
I don't know?
All right.
But you're saying it's not too early. You're definitively saying you know.
That's unfair. I'll say
Okay.
I'm saying if I had to bet, I would bet he's not going
So-
to.
Okay.
And that's fair if you
That's
had to
what I'm
pick a
Okay.
a
Yes,
Yes,
side.
you don't know
phrase it
for
that
certain.
way.
You
we
don't know
don't
for
know
certain.
for sure. And you know what?
It's too
not
early
fair
to know
for
for
me
certain.
to say Hunter's a bust. We don't know that.
Well,
yet.
the only reason I'm saying that is because you're making it seem like, well, they nailed it in this draft. Well, if Mason Graham's a good player and not a star, they didn't nail it in the draft.
Well,
you got
I
the 5th pick. You got to get a superstar.
got-
But I still think with everything else that they got in this draft, I think this draft is a two
it's
thumbs
too-
up
They
draft.
have
It's
3
too
rookies that are
early
Pro
to tell.
Bowl alternates.
I know they are.
3.
I mean, that's unheard of.
No one's getting Pro Bowl alternates as rookies.
That's good. That's a good draft class.
Listen, here's what we know about the draft class. Let's keep it real.
Okay.
Okay? Schlesinger looks like he's going to be a superstar.
Defense rookie of the year.
Okay, great.
Yeah, he is.
Looks
Give him
like,
a
that looks like a big hit.
Smash
Harold
rookie tackle
Fannin
record.
looks like a massive hit.
Rookie
Yes.
record,
At the
rookie
very-
touchdowns
for the Browns.
for the Browns,
yeah.
tight end record and receiving record as a tight end 3rd round pick.
Yeah.
As a 3rd round pick, that is a home run.
He's run. Now, Judkins, who I like a lot, we don't know yet how good he is.
I think
He
Judkins
wasn't
is
that
so-
good as a rookie.
I mean, he's a
Not-
Pro Bowl
He
alternate.
started great.
Stop, G. Tyler Huntley was a Pro Bowler. Let's stop.
I mean, but he's a rookie, man. Like he's a rookie. Like he's a rookie
No,
with
no,
one.
no, no.
With one of the
I'm not-
one.
you-
What about the offensive line? What are we talking about here? It's the worst in the league.
You're missing the point.
I'm not.
I like Quinshon Judkins. I'm just saying we don't know yet about
He's
him.
a ball player.
But is he going to be good or is he going to be great?
He was
I don't
good
know
this
yet.
year.
He was okay.
I don't know what the bar for good and great it is anymore.
You think he's worthy of being a Pro Bowler? That's ridiculous.
Here's what I'm going to tell you.
An alternate. They take 17 running backs.
I'm just saying, it's a lot of rookies who ain't going to be no alternates. What I'm saying, here's what I'm saying. Quinshon Judkins, if you go back and watch the film, I'll base it on this. He gets hit more than anybody behind the backfield.
But didn't you and Tyvis say that there was the game where you were like, I don't know.
He's a rookie. He's going to miss some holes.
Okay, the rookie thing with running back is silly. The rookie thing with running backs hit the ground running. You know that.
Is he one of their best? Is he one of their best players, Judkins?
I think he can be.
He's automatic. He's been one of their best.
He's one of their best players because there's not a lot to pick from.
Hey man, listen. I'm gonna just tell you what it is. I don't know if we can eliminate.
Did he have a great season as a rookie? He did not. He did not. That's a fact.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not a fact. You can't. It's an opinion.
I'll say this: there were two different Judkins.
Yeah.
The one we saw. Now remember, he missed training camp.
I think he wore down.
I think he wore down too. His last 4 games were way below average.
I'm not killing Judkins. I actually think he has potential.
Yeah.
I think can be a great running back.
So
but we don't know that yet.
No, I know
we don't know that.
But if we had to, if at this point in the season, if we had to put guys into the category of hit or miss, and I know that the bar is different for Mason because he was the 5th overall pick. But if you had to say, and you also then can do that for Shedeur Sanders. Shedeur Sanders is the 5th round pick. You'd have to say at this point was a
Well, if
hit.
I'm going to say Shedeur's a hit, then Mason Graham's got to be a miss to me.
If we're
factoring in the round.
There's no question on Fannin. There's no question on Schlesinger. And I don't think there's much question on Judkins.
The only question on Judkins is he going to be a good NFL back or is he going to be a star NFL back? And by the way, they drafted him in the 2nd round. Even if he's a good NFL back, that's okay. I mean, that's not bad.
Yeah.
But I think he can be a star, but we can't say based on this year that he's a star. That's all I'm saying.
All I'm going to, listen, I didn't say star. I just said, listen, that's a hit. He was one of your best players. He is one of your best offensive weapons. He can catch the ball out of the backfield. He did a lot of things. And
he just didn't have that good a year.
I'm just saying.
The last
there's
4
reasons
games were
for it.
really
but he didn't have that good a year.
But I think that we're discounting. We got to 68 yet? Maybe that can tie in because, this offensive line is just not good.
We're going there
next. We're all factoring that in.
What I'm saying is,
he averaged less than 3 yards per carry. I can't say he had a great season.
Listen,
you can't tell me he had a great season when he averaged less than 3 yards per carry.
So I can go back and give you what James Cook. James Cook has 400, 500, 600 yards almost before contact. Guess how many Judkins has? 43. 43 yards before he's contacted.
We're having 2 separate arguments.
That's not the argument. The argument is if you're getting hit, you have 43 yards all year before you get contacted. That means what you're doing. See, here's what we get twisted. When Nick Chubb was grinding and cooking, Nick Chubb was, if you take a look at his scores, he made the first guy miss. He was yards after contact. He did a lot with some stuff. They had a good offensive line, but a good running back, a stud running back will give you plays that you didn't even see. Go back and watch the film.
Are you comparing him to Nick Chubb?
What I'm comparing.
He's nowhere close to Nick Chubb in year 1.
What I'm comparing you is I'm saying good running backs is going to make guys miss. He's getting a lot of times when you watch that field.
Nobody's debating that with you.
But I'm
saying he didn't have a great season. Obviously, it wasn't completely his fault. Are you saying he had a great season?
I think for a rookie, he had a really good season.
He had 1,000 total yards.
He had 1,000 total yards.
How many games?
And
what? You're saying he had a great season?
No, not great. I'd say he had a good season.
You just said he had a great season.
There were games against there were games where we had to just give him the ball, and that's all we had.
If the Saints got 100 yards from Audric Estime, did he have a great? I mean, was he great? I mean, come on.
I mean,
he didn't have a great season. We got to figure out what the hell great means.
Listen,
we're gonna have nothing to live up to.
Here's what I'm saying. Listen, am I putting him in the Hall of Fame? No, but. Here's what I'm going to say. The league said he had a great year. He made a rookie team as a Pro Bowler as a rookie.
He didn't make a Pro Bowl.
Listen, he was an alternate. There you go.
Well, he's not a Pro Bowler.
I mean, he's an alternate. Listen, there's a lot of backs.
That's like saying, Kevin Stefanski's a great coach because he won 2 Coach of the Years.
Hey, listen, he's been here 6 years. If he did it, listen.
2 Coach of the Years. I discount that.
Did he win Coach of the Year his first year?
This is insane. To argue that Quinshon Judkins had a great year when he averaged 2.7 yards per carry is nuts.
Why are you basing on yards per carry? You ain't watching?
Give any stat. Yes, and I've said 13 times I like him. I think he's good. Clearly, all these numbers are not his fault.
I think that's a hit,
To say
right?
he had.
I'm just saying
he
it's
didn't
a
have
hit.
great
This
year.
conversation was a global conversation
Yes.
about the
It's a
draft
hit.
class.
Yes.
And
I
as
think
a
it
piece
will
to the
be a
draft
hit,
class,
is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I think Judkins will be a hit. We don't know for sure
And
yet.
I
That's
think
all I'm
in
saying.
general, if we're grading draft classes just
Yeah.
as thumbs up or thumbs down, and I know that's extremely black and white.
Yes.
But this is a thumbs
It's a
up by
thumbs
It
up.
any
is.
stretch.
Agreed.
thumbs
Nobody
up.
disagrees.
And so what I
But his
said-
other 5 drafts are all thumbs down.
They were. So here's what I said
Yeah.
about that. And I think this is why we went down this road. There is a part of me that after I've seen a guy kind of figure it out, because there is a learning curve at the draft, I kind of feel like let's go into another draft without the guru here to get involved and potentially screw things up. There is a large part of me that says, let's see if last year was a fluke.
Yeah.
If he builds on it and puts 2 good draft
The
classes.
interesting, though, is it's clearly a fluke because he's terrible at his job. We've seen that for 5 years.
A guy can't get better at his job.
Of course he can, but all of a sudden, All of a sudden, in year 6, he figured it all out? Has he figured it out at quarterback? Has he figured it out? We don't have a single offensive lineman on this team, Jay.
I
None.
get that. Listen, I
They
get
have
that.
no.
I'm not
They have
talking-
no receivers. They paid all that money to Jerry Jeudy.
Listen, that goes back to the decision to bring Deshaun Watson here. We've always said that's the elephant in the room.
The idea of keeping Andrew Berry to me is insane. It's insane.
I think you should get used to insanity then.
No, and we can. I think this would parlay right into the next topic. It's not the title of the job isn't draft guy. It's general manager of the entire roster.
It's roster construction.
It's terrible.
And to me, if you're going to give everybody, if Jimmy's going to give either everybody gets a pass for Deshaun or they don't.
That's
It's
the
one
tough
or the
thing
other.
to figure out.
And
Yeah.
somebody had to be the first one to bring his name up. And I've reported for years, Andrew was doing the work on Deshaun in Philly. And the Deshaun trade wrecked the organization. How do you keep the guy that burned down the organization and fire the guy who couldn't put out the flames?
So
that makes no sense
But that's
to
to
me.
make a definitive statement as if it was Andrew Berry alone.
Somebody's got to take the fall for
Well, Jimmy-
for
When Jimmy came
Deshaun.
out, Jimmy did. Jimmy
he
came out
said,
and
"I'll
said
be
it's
just
my
me."
fault.
Well, no, they're basically making Kevin the scapegoat for Deshaun.
if they fire
The
him.
entire reason that the roster and this team is in the state that it's in is because of the Deshaun trade. Period. End of sentence.
100%.
There's no rebuttal.
I
to
don't
that.
think anyone argues that. But if the owner himself is saying that was on me,
He's the general manager. His name's on the trade.
I know, but you know it as well as I do. It's
Somebody
the
had to come
owner-
up with the idea.
The owner
Jimmy
is
didn't-
higher up the ladder than the general manager.
Jimmy may have been the last one to say no. We keep going until he says yes. But somebody had to come up with the idea first in the room, and I don't think that was Jimmy.
Either
I
you
don't
believe,
know.
either
I
you
just-
believe him or you don't. If the owner say it was me, are you gonna say no? You
Yes,
don't mean that.
Jimmy at the end. No, I just said Jimmy at the end was the one that said we don't turn back now. We keep going until we get him.
Yeah.
Somebody came up with the idea
Look,
though. But it also goes back to they completely ignored the offensive line.
Because we got to do two more reads
Okay.
for that show.
Okay.
Do a read, and I'll let you continue that because we're talking Cam Robinson, which has to get in there right now.